see my belle. Sempre, scendo sempre.
I got the many things where I want to go. Yeah. Many things I want to go. Yeah. But I rest my mind. Think why I dey push my grind. I got no time for no negative vibe. If you hurt me, my guy, me, I'll leave you all to God. You. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. All I wanna know is Bankala. Set the mood, yo, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. All I wanna hear is a Bankala. From PA City, I pack my back from Lagos City. I no go any university. Body boy right now a global citizen. Yeah, and I rest my case for the level where I did. Me I no get time at all. Yeah. Me I dey thank my God cause he bring me here today. Me I no get strength to shout to you. So me say, set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. All I wanna know is Bankala. Set the mood, yo, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. Set the mood, it's alright. All I wanna hear is a Bankala. I got the many things where I want to go. Yeah. Many things I want to go. Yeah. But I rest my mind.
Very good morning to everybody. This is the House Party Queen. This is the House Party Queen on LWR. Good morning, good morning. It's already 2 minutes past 7. Today is the 31st of May. Can you believe it already? It's the end of the month.
It's alright. All I wanna hear is a Bankala.
And I have a very, very special guest in this week. Lady B is joining me for an Afrobeats special show, hence what I'm playing. She's going to be joining me shortly on the show. Say hello when she joins.
I be one woman type of man. Shamelessly love a man, no. Only you is all I see. Love you forever, that's the plan. I owe you better life, oh. Only you is all I see. Oh my boo, you do me like say na juju. Hey, I need you, part of my skin like that too. Oh my boo, you do me like say na juju. Don't leave my side, you give me life, yeah.
And if you're listening on the radio right now, on Radio Talk or Reload, why not join on Mixcloud? Join me, just search for HPQ, join me live.
Nobody better than you. Back up. If anyone try my lady, knock up. Oh sweetie baby, you face sala. Hey, girlie, nobody better than you.
Don't want nobody but my boo, gang. We kicking shit like Luke, gang. She want it, she the truth, hey. And I'm a W like Wu. Tangy and sweet, taste like pina colada. Love that Bottega, love that Louis V and Prada. No makeup, she's still hot like Sahara. Wait, she's really hot. Oh, I'ma have to put her in a coupe. Mansion in the hills with a coupe. I like the way she take this bamboo. She said if you let me get my name tattooed.
Now so you look in my heart to back up. No vacancy, oh cha-cha, casa. Hey, girl, ain't nobody better than you. Back up. If anyone try my lady.
Well, as with my usual weekly shows, I talk about the news, right? And I also talk about the weather. What's in store with the weather today? I've woken up to a very, very grey morning. It's not sunny outside. It's raining outside. There's some slight rain out there, but it's supposed to be 20 degrees in London today and 18 around the rest of the UK. So you can look forward to some kind of warmish, maybe humid weather going on. Who knows? But try and enjoy the rest of the week. We had a lovely bank holiday though, didn't we? We had a wonderful weather. I don't know what the rest of you did. I know that I relaxed in my garden. I also did some gardening work as well. So I'm tired, very tired, but not too tired to be today on the show.
Everybody know, they all know. Why KB, he go palanga your show. They already know, they already know, they already know. Who go massacre your show. They already know, they all know. They already know who go massacre your show. And ya won't walk back, Kigaro.
Welcome,
they gon' let me and my niggas in that room. In that room. Practice, patience. Practice, patience.
I've got to say, Lady B, thank you for joining me on the show today. I want to say a formal welcome.
Yes, you are very, very welcome. It's a bit early for me, but you know what? I set my alarm. I set my alarm for 5:20. 5:20.
Well, you're doing well.
Oh.
Wise, yeah, 1 kilo pewa, the matter long life, vuvuzela, cutting beef in the layer, my guys them, you know, say we know they for sure, we know they borrow, we get see sorrows, but we know they sorrow, we they up above, we they down below, you no need to know, I see they go.
Well, somebody else who's also up at this early hour is Sharky DJ. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us today this early morning. It's already 8 minutes past 7. It's not too early. It's early enough. If you were going to work, you would be on your way to work right now or in the bath. Certainly getting the makeup on. Certainly getting yourself ready to get to go. But I'm going to finish this track and I'll come straight back to you. Well, we are both here to brighten up your morning this morning on this last day of May. It's the last day of May. We go straight into June tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed the fabulous month of May. I certainly did. We had 3 bank holidays, 3 wonderful bank holidays, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. For those who are contractors that didn't get paid, my commiserations. I fell into that gap as well. But for those, you know, civil servants, public servants, private sectors, all of you guys that got paid, lucky you. But anyway, like I said, I'm here with my guest, Lady B. Now, this is an Afrobeats special show because those of you that don't know, Lady B is a DJ, but she is also my little guru for Afrobeats. I call you the specialist because that's what you are. You know all about Afrobeats. And if you don't, you definitely do your research into the music, into the history, and also into the artists. If you ever tune into this young lady's show, honestly, it's almost like a history lesson. You go in thinking you're going to hear some music and you learn all about the artists, you know, the words, the meaning, the language, everything. She provides you with so much. So, you know, we're going to give you details at the end of the show and hope that people are going to tune into to your dear self. But as I said, you're going to play some music also, I get.
I am indeed. I've got a few tunes lined up, and also I did some research on the artists as well. So there you go.
Thank you. Well, as I said, right, okay, this is all about Afrobeats. So first of all, can you tell us what Afrobeats is and basically just where it came from? Because I feel like it just kind of popped up in the last couple of years. It's been around for a little bit longer than that, but all of a sudden it feels like it's out there. Everyone's listening to Afrobeats. There's Afrobeats parties. You know, Wizkid, Burna Boy are suddenly on the map, and all the big stars want to be mixing around with them. So tell us a little bit more about the history of Afrobeats, and then maybe go into a little bit more about the artists.
Yes, so Afrobeats, not to be confused with Afrobeat, because there is a Afrobeat kind of music, which is quite old. And if you listen to my shows, you know that I usually play a song by Fela Kuti at the beginning of the show. That's Afrobeat. But Afrobeats came from that with a mixture of other types of music. But what it says is that it's an umbrella term to describe popular music from West Africa and West African music in diaspora as well. It's a fusion of sounds flowing out of Ghana and Nigeria. And we say Ghana and Nigeria because back in the day, Ghana was very well known for high life music, and that spread into Nigeria.
Did you say high life music?
High life, yes. High life.
What's high life music?
Oh, one day I'm going to do a show about high life music. High life music is almost like an African jazz, but vocal jazz, and it involves instruments such as the wind instruments, you know, the trumpets and the trombones and the saxophones and things like that. It definitely involves a lot of that. And so high life music, I would say, was originally traditional music, and then came the introduction of those instruments, the keyboard, the piano, and the wind instruments like the saxophone. And these are, so the drums were already there. So these are instruments that were played by people like Fela Kuti, for instance. He played all of those instruments, and he did his singing as well. But the Afrobeats started to form itself way back in the 1980s with the advent, actually, of rap music. Because I remember back then, growing up in Nigeria, I remember a lot of artists wanted to rap, and they would rap. You know, it was rough, but they would rap. But some started to mix it. Some started to mix their rap music with singing either traditional stuff or try to make pop music even, and it evolved because. It was very much rough around the edges. You could tell that they were raw diamonds.
So first of all, before you go on any further, I just want to get this clear in my head. So basically, it's derived from, if you talk about the umbrella, which is high life, and then you have Afrobeat, and then it was evolved into Afrobeats.
That's correct. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And nowadays, when you listen, because Afrobeats has evolved so much, so it came out of Accra, which is in Ghana, and Lagos, which is in Nigeria, and over time, you can see that Afrobeats has taken on a very different. It's evolved so much, particularly as it went global. So you have people like Wizkid and Burna Boy who smashed those barriers, and are, I mean, when they go out to perform, the amount of money they charge is it's no mean feat.
No.
You know, and they get that money. Last year, Burna Boy filled out Madison Square Gardens in America. You know, so they're a big deal nowadays. So that's where, in a nutshell, Afrobeats comes from. That's the origin. And now it's quite popular. And here in the UK, you've got an evolution still of the Afrobeats now. You've got Afro swing, you have Afro pop. If you listen to music in the underground, you will hear that kind of music as well. So, yes, there you have it.
Oh my gosh! So,
yeah.
But what do you think made Afrobeats kind of explode onto the market? Could you?
I believe now when you've got Africans living in diaspora, many of us go home, and many of us have people back home, and so therefore we don't forget those roots. You listen to that music, and we bring it here. One of the first Afrobeat songs that I heard here in this country, outside of Wizkid, was the Azonto. I don't know if you know the Azonto. And I think that was done by Fuse ODG. And it went crazy because, number one, it was a dance move. And where there's a dance move. And it started, I have to say, it's with the 90s kids. When they were going to the club, they were going to Afrobeats clubs now. They weren't going to your day-to-day mainstream clubs. My daughter, although in her formative years grew up on hip-hop and R&B, by the time she was a teenager heading to uni, it was all about the Afrobeats, you know, and she wasn't playing. Oh, I can see the little kitty cat.
You see me desperately trying to... First of all, she tried to jump up and nearly pulled out my earplugs. And, you know, I was fighting with her there. I was hoping you wouldn't notice, and then her tail
Of
went
course
up.
I noticed.
So, you know, she always comes to join me on the show. So everybody say welcome, Willow. You know,
hello, Willow.
She's come to join us.
Hello, Willow.
Oh, my gosh. Sorry about that.
No worries at all.
But as you spoke about the crossover in Afrobeats, and when you think about how long it's taken reggae to make an impact and then an everlasting impact, do you think that the African diaspora is a lot more stronger than the Caribbean diaspora in terms of backing its music?
I wouldn't say that. I think reggae has been around for reggae has been around since my mother was in her 30s, because I was here. Obviously, I was born here. And I used to, I had access to my mother's records, and this was in the 60s. Reggae has been around. It's been around, and I don't think it's going anywhere soon. You know, you look at soundtracks to some of these big movies. I mean, there's a particular movie, and I love the soundtrack to that movie. It's The Harder They Fall. You know, you've got Coffee on there, you've got Beres Hammond on there. There's some nice tunes out there. So, no, I think everybody supports their own, don't they? So, particularly, the thing with the African diaspora, though, is that any aspiring musician in the UK today, whether they're an R&B artist or whether they're a whatever kind of music they want to sing, there's going to be Afrobeats in there. Because they feel that they have to pay homage to that, you know. And what better way? Look what happened to Thames. Okay, Thames doesn't live in diaspora. She lives in Nigeria. But Thames did one song with Wizkid, Essence. Yes. She'd been around. She had been around, but she wasn't popular like that, not globally. But she did one song with Wizkid, Essence. And look where she is now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. She made it big time, you could almost say.
Yeah.
But you know, and you speak about these Afrobeats artists. I mean, you're going to see Burna Boy. Is it Burna Boy very soon? And where is he?
Yes, on Saturday.
Where is he performing at?
He's performing at the Tottenham Hotspurs stadium. Where, yeah.
And I believe that's where isn't Beyonce performing?
Yeah,
that's where she's performing. Yeah,
but he's going to be there on Saturday. But and that being said, Beyonce's doing 5 days of packed, and she had to add extra days for her show. So yeah, let's not get that twisted.
Let's not. But listen, I'm going to play a track, and seeing as how we were talking about Thames and Essence, I'm going to play this track, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Afrobeats and even the dances associated with Afrobeats and some of the languages. We'll deep dive a little bit more, but let's just play this one for a second.
Okay.
Essence featuring Thames. What a tune, what a tune. I still love that track, you know. That track just feels like it's a classic track that's just here to stay.
I can never, ever, ever get tired of that track. I remember when it came out a couple of years ago. It was coined as the Afrobeat song of 2021. And to me, it still has that strength. It's got that power. You know, it's kind of like a love song, actually, when you listen to the lyrics. You know, you don't need no other body but mine, basically, is what they're saying there, you know. And it's a very sensual song.
It is, actually. And the way that you can dance to it too, you can do anything to it. I think I've salsa to this song.
You can do salsa, you can get ignorant, you can do anything you like, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. I also find that Afrobeats is quite closely connected to soca.
Yes, it is. And let's not forget that the basic beat, the basic African beat, the drum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's based on a 5-beat thing, and
so that 5 beats is synonymous throughout most Afrobeats music. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Any music that you listen to. Okay, let's maybe not so much European music, but any music of African origin that you listen to, whether it be African music, whether it be Caribbean music, you will hear that there, or music from South America. You would definitely hear that, you know.
Okay, like I said, it's just an education here for me. I'm just learning away here. But one of the things I want to speak to you about is the dances associated with Afrobeats, because it's quite famous for that. It almost feels like reggae. I can't differentiate it away from reggae, because when a song comes out in reggae, there's a dance move connected to it. And it's the same with Afrobeats, but it's so energetic. I feel like you've got to bend your body. You've got to be flexible. Certainly have done yoga or Pilates or something to be able to bend yourself in some of those moves.
I think dancing, I think a lot of the dancing that you see, there are some songs that do sort of like describe a dance, but there are some that don't. It's just that dancing is a very African thing. There is a song by Fela Kuti where the name of the song is Open and Close. You must have heard me play it a couple of times. Yeah. Open and Close is a dance move. And he says, bend down like a black man. He actually says bend your nyash like a black man, but I'm very mindful of what time it is at this time of the morning. So, many people wouldn't understand that, but really bend down low like a black man, or a black woman, as the case may be, because dancing is very integral to the culture. So, when you hear that music, that's what it does.
Well, I feel like it dates back to slavery days, really. Dancing was formed part of that, formed part of the music, formed part of patterns of behaviour, maps, all sorts of things that they use. So it's quite integral to our culture to be able to put on these dances and associate them with music also. Mm-hmm. But you've got some tracks for us that
I have.
And
the first one I was going to play, you already played it, so I've taken that off the list. But the next one I'm going to play is quite a popular one, and it's popular because it's a song that's been sampled. This song is from Burna Boy, as I'm going to see him this weekend. So I thought I'd play this one, and I think he did the move. Sampling this song was a very good one, made very good business sense. So this one is Last from Burna Boy.
We don't cast, last, now everybody go to breakfast. You go bow for the result, nothing to discuss, cause I did win by default and without any doubt, I'm a me happy adult, I no go feed the joy is out, I'm a mind that's really dark, I put my life into my job and I know I'm in trouble, she manipulate my love, I know holy, and I know that they're both, like the Baba Frayo. I try to buy moto, one Toyota Corolla. My feelings been they swing like Django Lover. Feelings been they swing like Django Lover. Now you crash your Ferrari for Lucky Bona. Now some more to remain, could have been all over. My feelings today swing like Django Lover. Feelings today swing like Timbani at you. I'm a white dog in Fendi. Why you say I did nothing for you?
And if you've just joined the radio or the stream, you are listening to Lady B just play a few of her selected tracks. She's guest alongside the House Party Queen on the Breakfast Connection this morning. And good morning to everyone. Good morning, ETYS.
Maybe another life, you will be my wife and we'll get it right. We don't cast, last. Now everybody go to breakfast. Have to say bye-bye, yo. Bye-bye, yo. To the love of my life. My eye, yo. Don't cry, yo. I need to go and shadow. I need to go and shadow. I need to go and shadow. I need to go and
Oh, what a phenomenal song.
Oh, do you know, we've played a couple of phenomenal songs, haven't we?
Yes.
You know, those proper, tunes, those
Yes.
powerful tunes that tend
Yeah.
to just stay there for forever and a day. Honestly, love them. And I kind of fell in love with Afrobeats. And I'll tell you how, because Olatunde, is it Olatunde? He brought out a tune that crossed over into soca. And that was my first kind of like foray into Afrobeats, or how I knew it.
Is it Olatunde or Olamide?
Olamide? Oh,
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Probably
his name,
Olamide.
sorry.
Yeah.
He was on one of these X Factor shows as well in the UK. He appeared on one. But yeah, he brought out a track. And as I said, it crossed over into soca. And that was my first experience of Afrobeats. But it has, as you spoke about, been going since the 2000s. And before that was Afrobeat.
Since the 80s. No,
Since
it's
the
been
80s,
since the
sorry.
80s. Yeah.
And then Afrobeat before that, then
Yes.
High Life. But
Yeah.
I want to come back to Fela Kuti, the person that I kind of like was the pioneer
Yeah.
of Afrobeats. And tell us a little bit more about him. At what age did he? Do you know at what age did he start to explore Afrobeats, or how he became the pioneer exactly?
Fela Kuti, in actual fact, was... Fela Kuti is my mother's age. If he were alive today, he'd be knocking 90. And basically, he was he was known as Abamieda, which means a monster, but a monster of music, basically. So he was a musician, a band leader, composer, a political activist, a Pan-African and a Pan-Africanist as well. And he is regarded as the pioneer of Afrobeat, a Nigerian music genre that combines West African music with American funk, they say. Right?
Okay.
Now, if you listen to Fela's music, he started off singing high life, actually. I've heard some of his very early songs. He started off singing high life because he could play all these instruments. He could play the wind instrument. And when he first started, when he was green in the music industry, he was singing what we would call juju music, which is very traditional Yoruba music. But there were so many other artists doing that, so it didn't really kick off for him. So he went traveling. He went to Ghana first and picked up the whole high life thing. And then he came here to the UK. He was actually sent here to study medicine. He was enrolled to study medicine, but of course he flunked out of that and went to music school. And by the time he went back home to Nigeria and started playing what we now know as Afrobeat music, he commanded a storm. You listen to his lyrics; they were very provocative, they were very political and very anti-establishment, and he had a huge following. I personally think he was killed. I don't think that he died of natural causes, and his music actually touched the masses. I would say he was the equivalent of Bob Marley in Africa. There's nobody in Africa that doesn't know. I studied Russian language and I spent a year in Moscow when Moscow was still behind the Iron Curtain. And you talk to a cab driver and tell them you're from Nigeria, the first thing they ask you about is Fela.
And most of these artists pay homage to him as well. They quote him as their inspiration.
Oh yes.
I hope you have some tracks by him. Did you manage to?
I can pull one up.
Yeah,
The one of the ones that I really like. The thing with Fela's music though is that his intros are quite long. So I'll play one, but I'm gonna jump it. I'm going to sort of fast forward it every so often because Fela's music, this one that I want to play is called Gentleman, and you've heard me play this one before, but the reason I like this song so much is because apart from actually liking the song, I love the intro. The intro is phenomenal, and it shows his prowess, it shows his talent, because apart from the fact that he was a composer, singer, songwriter, instrumentalist, he also did a lot of his arrangements. He had an orchestra actually following him around. He had a big band.
Okay.
Big band music was Fela. So this one is called Gentleman.
Thank you very much. So guys, it's 7:34. You are on LWR with myself, the House Party Queen, and the lovely Lady B, giving us a little bit of a history lesson on Afrobeats.
It's an absolute banger. I'm going to move it forward a little bit.
Gentleman at all. I'm not be 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 gentleman at all at all. Happy Africa man, original.
I love the gentleman at all.
Happy Africa man, original.
I love the gentleman at all.
Them call you, make you come chop. You chop small, you say you belly full. You say you be gentleman. You go Hungary, you go so far. You go quench. Me, I not be gentleman like that.
I love the gentleman at all.
I be Africa man, original.
Oh yeah. I had to cut that one because it's quite a long song. So you see what I mean though?
Absolutely fantastic that was, and it had so many layers to that song.
Yeah.
Just when I thought it was over,
Yeah.
it would go into something else. I mean, he
Yeah.
had a fusion of funk in there. It started
Yeah.
off with some serious funk going on,
Mm-hmm.
and then some kind of almost like some pop elements I could hear in there, and then of course the African in there as well. It was
Mm-hmm.
it was beautiful, and the instruments.
Yeah, the intro to, he usually does a bit of an intro to, I don't know any song that he's done that doesn't have an instrumental intro, and it's always amazing. It shows his talent, big
It
time.
certainly does. Oh my God, you're gonna have to play a couple more tracks from him during the course of the show, because I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. How long is that actual track?
That track is about 10 minutes.
Did he make all of his music, did you say, about 10 minutes long? Or was
Yes, because basically, obviously, he was around during the vinyl days, and he died just before the whole digital music thing took off. So he wasn't. I don't think a lot of his music was started to get compiled on CD, but generally speaking, you don't find a lot of. When you find his music, you find the long versions of it, and then you have to cut them down. All his music is like that.
Okay. So coming back to Afrobeats and Afrobeat and High Life, how many? I mean, Afrobeats isn't just Afrobeats. There's many genres involved.
Well, Afrobeat.
In Afrobeats, I think it is.
In Afrobeats?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, it's a fusion now, isn't it? It's a fusion of what we originally considered to be Afrobeat, and then you get a fusion of popular music in there as well. Like
what you said earlier on, you mentioned Afro Swing. So
yes.
There's an offshoot of that Afro Swing.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any other offshoots of Afrobeat? Sorry, Willow's first.
Well, they say Afro Swing and Afro Pop, and then there's the Afrobeats Altair, which is your easy listening Afrobeats music. So when you when you listen to Afrobeats, you know that there's ones that will make you want to get up and dance. Yeah. And there's some that are very chilly. You just want to relax. You're having a nice evening, or beach music, and then there's a fusion of Afrobeats and Amapiano. So you've got Afrobeats and Amapiano going on.
I was just about to mention. I call it Amapiano.
Yes, there's Amapiano in itself. Mm.
No, but I was just saying my pronunciation is Amapiano. Am I pronouncing it right?
Oh, Amapiano.
Amapiano.
I just call it Amapiano. I don't know how, because Amapiano came out of South Africa actually. So
they're house heads down there.
They're house heads over there. So it was quite easy for. When Amapiano hit the music scene, I was like, okay, what is that? I've never really been a house head, but I do like Amapiano music, and I particularly like it when it's fused with Afrobeats.
And did you know when the rise of Amapiano came about? I've got to think about it to say it now.
Yeah. It was in the 2000s, I think. I would say probably 2016, 17. It started to. You could hear it in Africa, and then it suddenly started to. As Afrobeats, I believe Afrobeats also caused the rise of Amapiano as well, because it was being fused.
I think people mistake some of the genres, and it is under the umbrella of Afrobeats, but then you get Amapiano, and it is somewhat separate.
Amapiano is separate from Afrobeats completely.
Yeah,
it's a
and that's the problem. People will just say, "Oh, it's Afrobeats, it's Amapiano, Afrobeats," or whatever.
Yeah, probably because the first time they heard Amapiano, they heard it as a fusion with Afrobeats. That's probably why. Because the first time I heard an Afrobeats fusion with Amapiano, I was like, okay, what was that? What's that drumming under? What's that beat? You know, and so, you know, and then I did some research and realized that actually that beat comes out of South Africa. You know, and that has taken on, you know, a standing of its own. It's global.
Oh, it has. It has. Not just Afrobeats, but Amapiano is a separate entity.
Amapiano is a separate entity on its own. They have Amapiano parties. You know, when you get these Afro Nation and people go to Portugal and to Malta for these festivals and things like that, you've got Amapiano versions as well. They've got their own following.
Okay. Well, listen, I think you should play a couple of tracks. Maybe you can talk about the background of the tracks or the artist, and then I want to come and talk about some of the lyrics of some of these songs. Yeah,
sure. Okay, so this next one that I'm going to play, she's to me she's one of the. She's got such a beautiful voice, and I think she's very much underrated. This lady is called Simi, and she looks like a little angel, but and some of her songs are quite angelic, but this one not so much. This one is called So Bad. So this is Simi featuring Joe Boy.
Say you never ever got over me, even when you travel overseas. Yeah. Well, I don't mean to brag, my vibe is attractive. You say you stay loving me globally. You want me horizontally. Nobody like me is freaking fantastic. This nigga in the middle of a crisis. You fall in love, you don't know what the price is. I want it over the end. It's a dirty December. She leave me on so bad, and now she gone so bad, so bad. She look like a but she give me wahala. She leave me on so bad, and now she gone so bad. She look like a but she give me wahala.
Why you dey give me mixed signals? Not like you got a ring on your finger. Even if you know I know fi end you, but you know I got the energy to change you. The kind of woman every man desire. Top class, she did love designer. And she be go, she did quite my fire. Wah, wah, wah. Oh yeah, nah. Auntie, papi. What the hype, papi, pity, up to you. Love me, no matter. Oh yeah, wait and see. You love me, no matter. Oh yeah, wait and see. Yeah. Auntie, papi. What the hype, papi, pity, up to you. Love me, no matter. Oh yeah, wait and see. You love me, no matter. Oh yeah, wait and see. Yeah.
She leave me on so bad, and now she gone so bad, so bad. She look like a but she give me wahala. She leave me on so bad, and now she gone so bad, so bad. She look like a but she give me wahala. When he see me, call me. He say me sweet and like Doremi. He say she high me like ENC. Me one buy in club for Jersey, oh para. Why you on the paradise, baby, come power my empire. Yeah, you say this baby drive crazy, and she made it sweet like a fence salad. This nigga in the middle of a crisis. You fall in love, you don't know what the price is. I want it over the end. It's a dirty December. She leave me on so bad, and now she gone so bad, so bad. She look like a dama, but she give me wahala. She leave me on so bad, and now she gone so bad. She look like a dama, but she give me wahala. So bad, so bad, yeah. So bad, baby.
Oh yes, that was a tune right there. And the lyrics, if you were listening to those lyrics, they were bad.
Well, listen, in terms of lyrics, right, the one thing that gets me, and it caught me today actually earlier on just before it went on the live stream, is the lyrics. Because obviously it's not in my mother tongue. So I don't know the content of the lyrics or what it's trying to say. And sometimes, you know, when downloading tunes, you'll see an explicit sign. But sometimes you don't know the true meaning of it, and you could be playing something quite offensive or non-offensive. It's difficult, but
Yes, I mean sometimes when I'm playing some songs, and I pay attention to the lyrics and they say certain words, I'm like, "Hoo!" But then in my mind I think, well, most people probably wouldn't understand that anyways.
So it's okay.
so it's okay. Yes, it does happen, and yes, and some can be quite explicit. Yeah.
I'm finding that the nature of more and more Afrobeats is becoming a little bit more explicit. It's coming along like the hip hop lines.
I think it's always been. It's always been. It's just about what you understand. Because even when they sing it in the language, sometimes some of these people, some of these musicians, they sing in English, but what we call a broken English. And sometimes they speak in the lingo. They speak in their mother tongue, and some of the things they say, I mean, yeah.
Can you name a track where the lyrical content, where obviously I wouldn't understand it, but maybe it could be quite controversial? Do you know of any?
Oh my God, there are quite a few. Oh my God.
I've put you on the spot there, haven't I?
You have put me on the spot because I wasn't prepared for that. But there are quite a few. There are some songs that even I wouldn't play because of the Nigerian people that might be listening. There was a song that was done by a guy called Wande Cole. Oh, I love Wande Cole, actually. Maybe I should play one of his songs today. Anyway, so Wande Cole, if you ever hear the word sugarcane, think about that and think about what it means.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
That's
let
all I
my
can say.
imagination. I'll let my imagination run wild there.
So when you hear the word sugarcane, or they say ogede. Ogede means planting or banana. What does that mean?
Okay, I gotcha, girl.
Yeah.
But I've been, just in the background there, I've been doing a little bit of reading about Fela Kuti, and he, and I kind of, when I listened to that track, in the beginning of it, I closed my eyes and I thought, this sounds like Roy Ayers,
Yeah, he did a tour with Roy Ayers.
Yeah,
actually,
and it just reminded me of Roy Ayers. And then going back and just doing a little bit of research and reading about it, yeah, you're right, he did a tour with him, where I can hear some of that. I mean, Roy Ayers obviously got his influence off Fela Kuti, so let's not get it twisted there. But also, more up-to-date stars such as Kanye West and Drake have counted him as an inspirational artist, or their music that they've used to work with him. So I didn't realise how prolific he was, but that's just
very big.
That's just from not knowing about Afrobeats music as such, which is why you're giving us an educational lesson here. But thank you.
He was very big, very, very big. I think the biggest out of Africa, I believe. Because it was around during the times of people like Manu Dibango. I don't know if you know Manu Dibango. He was a African jazz artist as well, so yeah. Okay.
So, in fact, I'll get you to play another track, actually, and then I might play a couple after that. And then we'll talk about some of the artists, maybe some of the newer artists coming out as well, as with some of the old ones.
Oh, yes. So this next song, I absolutely love this song because of the because I think, again, this guy is very much underrated. You don't hear much about him, and I was complaining about it the other day to my daughter, and then she let the cat out of the bag because my birthday's coming up in June, and she said, well, I've got to tell you, I bought tickets for you to go and see that guy. So this is Oxlade, and this one here is Kulosa, which means closer in actual fact, but he said it in his vernacular language, Kulosa, right?
So thank you, Lady B. Guest on the Breakfast Connection this morning with the House Party Queen.
Girl, I wanna make you low, low, low. I
are these kind of things where they make man see ya. And me, I understand. So your dad know like me, see me, I won't make you know. Say me there for you, cara. And if not, you price me that. I feel like don't see ya. I never traded you for nothing. This love will make me the jackpot shit. Without you, I don't break to love. Without you, I'm going to tell me with this all bingo. I never traded you, baby. This love will make me the something. No. I'm going to tell me what's up, bingo. I'm going to take with it, yeah. I'm going to want to make you. Baby, I'm going to make you. Oh, baby, oh, no.
Maybe to check your WhatsApp.
I saw it coming. Okay, so I'm just going to put on another one. Yeah, I'm going to put on another one just now. But that was Oxlade, by the way. Absolutely fantastic tune. The next one I'm going to play is from Wizkid, and that one is Oju Elegba. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about Oju Elegba after the song.
It's Legendary Beats.
They know my story. From old dog studio, I be hustle to work. Baby, do a legba, oh, me and City. From old dog studio, we been hustle to work. Me do a legba, oh, my people dead, my people suffer. Them they pray for blessing. Me do a legba, oh, my people dead. Them they pray for blessing, for better living. Kilo dale, aye ole toyo, aye oni dog, adura lole show, call on daddy, adura go, issue any badele, I forward boja. I'm feeling good tonight. This thing got me thanking God for life. Oh, I can't explain.
some tunes.
Thank you. Now that song there from Wizkid is called Ujelegba, and I like that song really very much. One, because of the lyrics, and two, because he's singing about a particular area in Lagos.
Is that what the song meaning is
Ujelegba.
Ujelegba.
Yeah. He's talking about Ujelegba, which is where he grew up in Lagos. Okay. And it was a market district, actually. It still is. And I remember back in the day when we were growing up, you want to go and do major food shopping, you're going to Ujelegba Market to go and do your shop. And his mother presumably was a market woman. And he's talking about his life growing up there and how much his mother prayed for him to do well in life. And he feels like his mother's prayers after him have made him what he is today. So, yeah, it's a cool song.
And also with some of the research I've been doing now, it's saying that Fela's lineage remains present within Afrobeats, which was what we spoke about. Yeah. Now, Burna Boy apparently is the grandson of Fela's manager, Benson Adeniji. I can't pronounce it.
Adeniji,
Adeniji, yeah.
And
as we said, Burna Boy has sampled several of the Legends records for his own tracks, and Femi Kuti, son of the Afrobeat founder, plays saxophone on Wizkid's Jaye.
I've got to play that song. It's a tune.
Well, you know what? God. You can play that just in a second. And his father's image appears in the accompanying video. Now, and I'll talk about this next bit after, if you can find this track for me. But they're saying that overt sexuality runs throughout the words and images in Afrobeat songs, much like dancehall music and bashment. I'm assuming
100. Without a doubt. It's very, sometimes when you hear, sometimes because they're speaking in the lingo, it might go over my head. But then when I go back and I listen again, I'm like, oh my God, did they just say that? You know, so yes, it can be quite overt. I mean, there's a particular musician from Tanzania, Diamond Platinum's beautiful voice. I love his music. I might play one if I get time, one of his ones. But his music was banned in his country because of the overt sexual nature of his lyrics. Yeah. But I mean, I love his music, so you know.
Sometimes it's about the music and not always about the lyrics, but the lyrics do count for me. I hear some bashment tracks, for example, and although the music and the bass line and everything is just wicked, I can't listen to the lyrics. I just can't. What it stands for is, but I suppose for me in Afrobeats, I don't know what it means. So you know what, I could be listening to anything.
but I suppose sometimes the overtly sexual lyrics, if they are derogatory to women, then no, I don't particularly like that. But if it's not derogatory, I mean, we're singing or listening on the understanding that it's two consenting adults. So, you know, women can sing there. There's a particular song out of the West Indies that I know. I can't remember the name of the lady who sang that song. I played it for a guy one day, and he was so embarrassed. Because the nature of that song was so raw, you know.
Explicit.
Yeah, it was very explicit. Yeah.
Okay, so have you got that track for us?
Jaye is right here. Oh. It's a big tune. In fact, this is one of Wizkid's early songs, in actual fact. He was a teenager. He started at the age of about 15, maybe. But this one here, this collaboration is everything. So this is Wizkid and Femi Kuti. Femi Kuti is on the sax, and this one is Jaye.
As you can see, we are all very on. Mo fẹ́ kọ́lé fún màmá mi, mo fẹ́ ralé fún bàbá mi. Ayé ní Miami, Maserati fún ìyàwó mi. Ferrari, Versace, Ferragamo, Bugatti, owó lóògùn torí, mo fẹ́ lówó bí Adénúgà, mo fẹ́ Sosa, mo rọ́ọ̀tì pépérépé, ọlọ́dẹ for me, àti tí baby now. You cannot believe what I have seen with my eyes. Say my people, it is a beautiful story, na na na. See, I fought through defeat, now I am living a better life. And I'm thankful for the life that I am living, na na. Easy, baby,
I'm loving this track.
I'm balling for two. Let nobody do me better in truth. See, I'm balling for two. Let nobody do me better in truth. With the bad musician, that's the bad producer. You already know, you're never show.
Absolutely amazing, and they even sampled one of Fella's songs to do this. I'm gonna wind that one down. That is an absolute tune. I remember back in the day when I was on Slam Radio, I used to play that song so much. When in the days when we used to go into the studio, it was just a tune.
Do you know, first of all, I want to say good morning to DJ Christos. Thank you for joining us, my darling. And good morning, Christos, Laurie. Good morning, and Pablo
Laurie,
Mix and Sharky DJ, if I haven't said hello and good morning already. But that track reminded me of, I could see why that went big as well. That crossed over into soca as well.
Yes.
That track, because I've heard it before also, and I've just realised what it is. Yes. And it's a massive tune. Was just writing this down, all these tracks, because they're going into my playlist. I'm telling you.
No, that song right there that's part of Wizkid's earlier catalogue, in actual fact. But he chose to work with the right people, because Femi Kuti was slated a lot when he went into the music industry, because obviously he wasn't his dad. You know, his dad passed, and it felt like he wasn't big enough to step into his father's shoes. But very, very good on the instruments. He has another brother, Sheil.
I was going to say, he's got 2 sons, hasn't he?
He's got more. He's got plenty more. But these are the ones... we can't count them. You know, there's so many. But these are the older ones, the ones that... these ones I'm talking about are the children of his first wife, in actual fact. Okay. Sheil Kuti, I think, is the third son. Mm-hmm. And if you listen to his music, he's absolutely phenomenal. And he is he's anti-establishment, exactly like his dad.
Yeah, because I was reading that fella Kuti, and you said it earlier on that he was, you know, an authoritarian. He was anti-establishment, and his songs were very, very political. And that's one of the things that that everyone else didn't pick up from him. They picked up elements of his music, his musical geniuses, but they left the politicalness out of it.
A lot of the things that he was singing about back then is still happening today. And he wasn't just talking about Africa. He was talking about the colonialists, the colonizers. Yeah. He was talking about the injustices against black people globally. He talked about all of that, but he also sang for the common man. Oh, I mean, he had such a big. He was actually chastised by the government. Because during some of the years growing up in Nigeria, we were under military rule. And he comes from quite a prominent family, and they went and terrorized his family. He had this big estate which he called Kalakuta Republic, because it was just everything. And then he had a place which was the African Shrine. That's where he used to play his music. But they went into his home where he lived, and his mother had a section of the house and all of that. And they terrorized all of them. Took his mother, threw her off the second-story balcony. Oh, my God. They were properly... he went to jail, even. and it was a sad day because they banned his music for a short while, and it was a sad day because he spoke out against the government, and they didn't like that.
So, are there many other Afrobeats artists that are anti-establishment?
There may well be, but you don't hear a lot. The one of the few, Burna Boy certainly has his moments. He does sing about what's going on. There's a particular song of his called Whiskey, which and in fact, if you listen to a lot of Burna Boy's songs, Burna Boy, apart from the anti-establishment, also sings about life. People don't understand that a lot of the time when he's singing, but he sings about life. So there's a particular song called Whiskey, which he sings, and it talks about the atrocities under which people in Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt is a city in the eastern part of Nigeria, which is rife with oil rigs. There's a lot of oil in that part of town, and but it's ruined the soil. People can't farm, people can't eat. The air is black, so when people wake up in the morning, they've got to cough, and when they cough, they bring up black phlegm because of the pollution, which is as a result of oil companies and gas companies in there. So yes, there are a few who do sing.
Okay. I'm a little bit distracted because my cat has decided to fuss herself in something, and I could just hear this noise. I'm going to kick her out the studio in a minute. But thank you for that. And do you know what? We're going to play that track by Burna Boy that you just spoke about, Whiskey. So let's, hear what you're talking about there and listen to his message.
Yes, indeed. Let's just put that on. Okay, you got it, have you? Okay, you've got it.
So this is Whiskey by Burna Boy, everyone. Thank you for joining myself and Lady B here on The Breakfast Connection, talking about Afrobeats. Yes, me and that cat Sharky DJ need to kick her out the studio. And this is Whiskey by Burna Boy.
I fought too easy, and I bought the whiskey. But no be disability, no be disability. I fought too easy, and I bought the whiskey. But no be disability, no be disability. Some people bind and cast, some of them pray and fast. I say pastor then they fast. She learn the thing we God command. Because of oil and gas, my city so dark. Pollution make the air turn black. Every man have to stay on guard. I fought too easy, and I bought the whiskey. But no be disability, no be disability. I fought too easy, and I bought the whiskey. But no be disability, no be disability. People there with they sleep for them house, they getting over. Some they walk on the other side of town, them they hold up. Some they pray for the traffic, make them hail you, make you show love. And when you reach, so they go back home, you go club. I know say no easy, my brother.
He definitely has some lyrical content in there. I brought his lyrics up, and some of them, as you say, he was talking about, where is it? Because of the oil and gas, my city's so dark. Yeah. Pollution make the earth turn black. Every man have to stay on guard. So he's got some political notes of his message in there.
100.
That he's been saying in there. Mm-hmm. That's very good. Anyway, so that was Whiskey by Burna Boy. I'm going to play one more track before we start Going back into our chat again. The time is now 8:14. I haven't even mentioned the chat, have I? We've just been chatting away here. And for those that have just joined, this is myself, HBQ, and Lady B on the Breakfast Connection on LWR. The time is 8:14. It's going to be 20 degrees out there in London today and apparently 18 to 19 around the rest of the UK. It's raining. Hopefully it will stop raining at some point today. That was Whiskey by Burna Boy. This is For You with Tenai and Davido.
It's 12 a.m. in the morning. I still wait for your call. Don't do me like this, oh yeah.
I absolutely love this tune.
Cause I don't dey wait, oh. I don't dey wait, see, so yeah. And I still dey pray, oh. I still dey pray, oh yeah. Oh, no. Oh, my ego now for you.
All my ego for you.
Oh, my rabba now for you. Yeah.
All my rabba for you.
Go, me now for you. Yeah.
Care for you.
All the motor for my garage for you. Yeah.
The garage for you.
Oh, my ego now for
I love the way that Afrobeats can just change energy depending on the songs. Honestly, beautiful.
you. Me now for you. Yeah. All the motor for my garage for you.
Make the motor for the garage for you. OBO, Adele. 30 million for you. All the best for you. I put my life on the line for you. Nobody else got you. Baby, 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 boo. You don't say you be my boo. If I ever leave you, oh, baby, I be fool. Baby, I be fool. Say I want to show you my world, my I say I'm not gonna do you,
For the sake of time, I'm not going to play that full song, but that was For You by... And was you laughing at my pronunciations? I know my pronunciations are...
Because you said Tenai, it's actually Tenny.
I'm so glad I'm not interviewing her because that would be really bad, and me saying Tenai, and her name's Tenny, and Davido. Did I pronounce that right?
Well, Davido.
It's Davido. It's Davido.
Yeah,
Tell us about the rise of Davido, because he's coming along there alongside the Whiz Kids and the Burna Boys. He's making music.
Well, the thing with Davido, right? There is an argument that he's bigger than Wizkid. Okay. But, and I use the word. There's a but. I mean, he's absolutely amazing. Is Davido? I love his music. I love his voice, and all of that. But when you compare his starting point to Wizkid's starting point, his father has money, so he had a leg up. So that, and to a lot of people, that doesn't count. You had a leg up. Yeah, you're doing great, but compared to Wizkid is actually, they're both global, but I think Wizkid is actually bigger in the industry. Wizkid is considered a kingmaker in the industry as well.
Then Burna Boy.
Burna Boy came on the heels of both of them.
So sorry, I know I'm butting into conversation here, but so out of Wizkid, Davido, and Burna Boy, who would you say is the biggest artist?
I want to say Wizkid. For sure.
Well, you're saying Wizkid.
Yeah. Wizkid, and then Burna Boy. And then Davido. Although Davido has been around longer than all three. And Davido... and when I say he's been around longer, not that much longer, but Davido was one of the three of them. Davido had the biggest impact first in Africa, not globally.
I was going to say, I believe Burna Boy and Wizkid have had the global
yes,
reach.
It's because of their global acclaim that I consider them to be bigger than Davido. People in Africa would say Davido is the biggest thing, but you don't know because you're not looking at it from a global perspective. He's definitely very big in Africa, as are Burna Boy and Wizkid. But in addition to that, they've got the global acclaim.
But the radio music, I suppose, is Burna and Wizkid.
And mind you, Davido also has global acclaim, but he's only just dropped an album after almost 10 years. Whereas Burna Boy and Wizkid, they've been working. You know, they've been like Burna Boy's last album, oof. Okay, Wizkid's last album wasn't that great, but the one before that was phenomenal. The last album he released, I think, either early this year or late last year, we said he just swept up what was left on the studio floor and threw that out there. You know, it's not bad, but compared to what he's done in the past, you know, but he's still big because the music from his previous albums are still banging, you know.
Gosh, Afrobeats and their stars, honestly. Yeah. And let's talk about the women now in Afrobeats, because we've been talking about all the men, right? And what about the women? What about the female artists in the Afrobeat scene? Who's kicking it up out there? Who's?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, we spoke about Simi earlier on, and I know she's around at some point in the UK. Then there was Tiwa Savage. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but Tiwa Savage was she performed at the King's coronation.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she did. And you know, Tiwa Savage, aka the African bad girl,
she's like the Riri, bad girl Riri.
Yes,
you know, equivalent Rihanna.
But she had she actually was studying in America. And she wrote some. She's been around. She wrote some songs for. She did backup vocals for George Michael, Mary J. Blige, and you know, so she's had a bit of a taste of the music industry before she actually went into. She tried to. I think was she on some X Factor thing? She did X Factor for and I don't think she, after graduating from Berkeley College, I think she did X Factor. She didn't get very far, and it was after that she decided to go back to Nigeria and start off her music career, and she's global.
Okay, well, talking about her, let's play one of her tracks. This is Tiwa Savage, Ayra Starr, and Young John with Stamina.
Okay.
Let's hear this young lady. I do love some of her music. I do play them all the time as well. And I'm having a great morning, Lady B. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Stamina, stamina. You gon' need more stamina. Oh, yeah, right, I'm on me now. Make I know say you cover me now. So many things I could do to you. If only you give me the permission to. Give me the permission to show you the thing I carry.
Now blood you say for you. Make I no lie on do. Make I no lie on damn me lori do. Cause I'm so into you. So many things I can do to you. If only you give me the permission to. Give me the permission to show you the thing I carry.
Now you take my breath away. I'm a one question show fair for me. Live to fight another day.
Live to fight another day. So many things I can do to you. If only you give me the permission to. Give me the permission to show you the thing I carry.
Permission to show you the thing I carry. Check calendar, no fi wait forever. Check a shit, jiggy jacka. I'm charged up for you, tango for two, sexy kung fu, ready to do everything you like. I'll make your fire ignite until you see the sunlight. Shooting mura, sugar, you will be needing plenty. Stamina, stamina, you gon' need more stamina.
So it's music like this that shows me how much Afrobeats is fusing with so many other types of music, because I could hear so many influences in that song. I could hear a bit of reggae influence, I could hear soca influence in there, and good old Amapiano as well. Amapiano, is in there with that drum roll that I heard in there. So it's evolving. Afrobeats is definitively evolving with the young people that are coming out, the millennials as I call them. They're coming in with the fresh and new ideas. And
I've got to talk about Ashake.
Yes,
I have to talk about Ashake. We can't talk about this music and not talk about Ashake, because he's done something really phenomenal. We were talking about who's the biggest, Wizkid, Burna Boy or Davido. We must not forget Ashake, because he just burst onto the scenes, and even though he's been around, he's been grafting. It's not that he hasn't been, but he just went global just like that. It was almost like for free. You know, coming on the heels of people like Burna Boy. The first song he did was with Burna Boy, in actual fact. And I remember when I first heard that song, I thought, okay, this guy here is fused, not just, he's taken Afrobeats, added a bit of a Amapiano in there, and also added the Yoruba traditional way of singing. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, this guy's a genius. And the kind of money he commands now just to play, like he's coming again in August, and I got my ticket this time.
You got your tickets to all of them?
Yeah. I always watch, you know, and so he changed the face a little bit. He brought something new, something different. You know, after a while, Afrobeats is Afrobeats, but he brought something different. And the first song he did with Burna Boy. And this is what I say. When somebody's a kingmaker, just do one song with them, and you're going nuclear, basically.
I think it's the same as with social media. All they've got to do is advertise your goods. You need one good person to advertise.
That is correct. If I can, I'd like to play one of their songs. This song that he did with Burna Boy, amazing.
Of course you can. Fire away, my darling.
Okay, so this one is Ashake featuring Burna Boy, and it's Sungba. Ooh.
Alala de mi Ashake.
Nakasungala jano de waste time, ona. Me I will fire bazooka, ona. Mr. Money no de waste time. Mr. Money want to ease your mind. Say baby don't find no day to shine, unaka. Show why me. Mr. Money no de waste time. Mr. Money want to ease your mind. Hello. You carry back a lot of filo. I'ma check a phone no go de ghost to go. Ready to pay what 10 kilo. Kumatingaza Shina sayon falapa Agata from Osapa Funi bulala Nishe lo japa Omo ajebota ni di mi gapa I don't like nonsense we are go butter Nishe lo japa Omo ajebota ni di mi gapa I don't like nonsense we are go butter Sunga la ja sunga la ja sunga ulu sunga sunga la ja sunga ulu
Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now. Mr. Money with the vibe right now.
Tell me what you see when you look at me. Sungbalaja go machu body. My problem is that too sabi. Pop Marley for the pool party. I got out ya da bada. So you dey wine meaning. You know see Uba ya gbokada. Shop banka you go shop la. Ele Sungbalaja Sungba.
Time permitting, I would play the full song, but you hear that? Do you hear that tune right there? That is a banging party starter, honestly.
A whole lot of a big party starter that tune is.
Yeah. And Ashake is one of those who he sings lyrics that are very meaningful and very impactful, but he also sings those explicit lyrics as well. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Yeah.
So tell us about, I think it's a French influence on Afrobeats.
Now, if you go to, I mean, when we talked earlier about high life and the traditional music, in the western part of Africa, although that sort of music is quite similar, so we have the Francophone African, obviously Francophone Africa, and so we talk about places like Ivory Coast, for instance, the music out of Ivory Coast, and one of the most popular ones was Premier Gal by Magic System. In fact, that was one of the first. That was one of the first generation Afrobeats global songs. Actually, was Premier Gal, and then we look at we go to the Congo, for instance, and we look at Awilu Longomba. Oh
Wow! You're gonna have to play some of these tracks before the end of the show.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear a high life track, if possible, if you have one, and some of this music that you've been talking about. Play us a couple to show us just a variation across the nation, as I say. But let me see if I can get a tune for you. I've got a French influenced one.
Yeah.
This one always used to be in my playlist. Actually, this one's called Mannequin.
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 I was playing it yesterday, actually, as it happens.
Gosh, my pronunciations! I'm gonna cry.
No, it's because it's French. It's when they say the word, it's mannequin.
Okay. Ma chérie,
elle a des secrets dans le cœur. Ma chérie, elle a des regrets, des rancœurs. Oh, ma chérie, elle parle doucement, doucement. Ma chérie, n'aime pas les mouvements. Mais j'aimerais l'emmener. Mais j'aimerais l'emmener. Mais j'aimerais l'emmener. Pourtant, ma chérie, elle veut me sortir de son cœur.
Je t'ai donné mon cœur, et maintenant c'est la guerre.
Okay, so what this is Afrobeat still, just from a different part, or is it not, or is this something completely different?
Well, you would call it Afrobeats, really, because it's part of the popular music, isn't it? It's popular music in so you would call it Afrobeats, but it has the influences of the. I think that song is out of Ivory Coast, actually. Who's the person who sang it again?
Fally Ipupa.
Fally Ipupa. No, it's Congolese, actually. You wouldn't
do that
know.
on purpose?
No. I really didn't. I really didn't. Fally Ipupa, he's from the Congo, actually. I mean, no. As soon as you said Fally, I knew straight away. There's only one Fally, But yeah, so he's from the Congo, and you can hear traces of the traditional Congolese music in there as well. So depending on where you're from, your Afrobeats will probably include, unless you're singing the commercial type, your Afrobeats would generally
localized music as well.
Yeah.
So this music is from the Congo.
The Congo, yeah.
Okay, so this is the Congo version of Afrobeats.
I would say, yeah.
Okay. Right, and to talk, we kind of came off subject of some of the women artists in Afrobeats. We spoke about a few. We spoke about some, but
yes. So there's Tiwa Savage. There is Tenny, Ira Star, Thames. There's an emergence at this point in time. The Afrobeats industry is very, very male dominated.
I can see that.
Very male dominated. But you can see slowly but surely I mean, Tiwa Savage started off with those, you know, with people like Davido and Wizkid and all of those. But people like Thames, Ira Star, they're new age.
Yeah.
Simi also is new age, and I think they're doing quite well. Tenny, for instance, she was around during the Tiwa Savage time, and she had a few big songs in actual fact, but she never dropped her album. She never got the chance to drop her album until about 2 years ago. So the album didn't really take off the way it should have done, because she'd already done the songs, and the songs had been doing the rounds for years. You know, before she... again, she has a very beautiful voice, Tenny. Yeah.
And,
you know.
And any other controversial Afrobeats artists in terms of... what about Doja Cat? She's not... No, she's not. Sorry. Forgive me. Any other controversial women...
well, Tiwa Savage, let's use the word controversial. Tiwa Savage, she's been around for a while, and I think a couple of years ago there was a sex tape which was released on the internet, and it was quite explicit, and this included her and some guy anyway. And the backlash that she got from the African community, particularly the African community in Africa, not so much from the diaspora, but in Africa, she got trashed.
Wow.
However, she's still standing. It was after that she did a collaboration with Brandy Norwood, Somebody's Son. And she's done several other collaborations, actually, with other Afrobeats artists who still respect her. So, you know. But you don't really get a lot of scandal like that, I don't think. No, not around women. No.
And you said, you know, earlier on, you said that it's a male-dominated environment. I think most music is male-dominated. Women are still trying to break through on the music scene, becoming top artists. And you know, you get the few up there. And it's the same with Afrobeats. The women are still trying to break the mould and...
Absolutely.
You know,
if you listen
to on par.
If you listen to Thames, if you listen to some of her music, she's dissing people, particularly the men that had held her back in her career. You know, you listen to some of her lyrics. Yeah, she's dissing people. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to listen to her a little bit more. But let me play a track for you guys. Let's switch it up and play this track for you guys, and we'll come back after this.
Jules, baby.
I'm gonna get you to pronounce this.
Let me roll up a sleeve and turn up the music. Don't be today where we start today. Come make we party at once. Genji every night Afro. Yeah, baby, make you go to the DJ. Yeah, baby, Liana Tree. I flow is yo. Yeah, baby, make you go to the DJ. Yeah, baby, Liana Tree. I flow is yo.
Am I pronouncing it right, Mumway? Am I pronouncing it right, Mumway? Do you give up on me?
You are pronouncing it right.
See, you better bump pass, you better watch in and up. Boom, in a good do, sir. Boom, in a yam. What do you want to do? See, I man don't see before. See, yeah, Bobby, spending money.
So is this track a type of Afrobeats? Is this in the classification of Afrobeats, or is it got a...
It is because you can see that it's a collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are many different influences. You've got Jules in there, and you've got Twitch, you've got Forever, and you've got Kwamina MP. And these are... Jules is the only one that's Nigerian. The rest are Francophone. So you can see that there is a collaboration, and you can hear the different influences from the different parts of where these people are from.
Who is Jules? I keep hearing about.
He's a bad producer.
He's a producer on the soca scene as well.
Is he?
Produces on
Yeah.
this, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you hear his signature note saying Jules.
Jules Baby,
Jules Baby.
Yeah.
He's been on a few signature soca tracks. Because every time I heard it, I'm thinking, where have I heard this signature bit from?
Yeah.
And I've just realised, now that you said he's a producer, definitely.
Bad producer, bad.
Oh my God, I'm going to start downloading some of his music. It sounds like it. From what he's been involved with a DJ called DJ Private Ryan, who's a big DJ on the soca scene from the States.
All right.
And he does a lot with Nadia Bateson as well. So those three between themselves, massive tune. And then I'm going to try and find it, actually. Try and find it in the course. But I'm going to hand over the reins over to you to play a couple of tracks and to... talk about them also, because I think I asked for some tracks. I begged. I hope.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I was ready, you know, and I've got so many anyway that I don't even need to be ready. I can just pull one out. I want to play this one, which is from Ivory Coast. I talked about it earlier. This one is Premier Gal from Magic System, and it's a nice dance song, but it's actually a sad song when you listen to the story. I mean, it's in French and in Ivorian local lingo. So I had to figure out I had to research the meaning of that song. So this one is Premier Gal from Magic System.
Je vais partir le couper oh. Mais on dit premier Gaou n'est pas Gaou oh. C'est deuxième Gaou qui est Nyata oh. On dit premier Gaou n'est pas Gaou oh. C'est deuxième Gaou qui est Nyata oh. Dimanche matin et coco on frappe à ma porte. Ma grande surprise, oh, c'est la go en touche voix, oh. Assemblage, j'ai dit, oh, y'a longtemps, c'est plus revu, oh. Elle veut me mentir, oh, elle dit, chérie, j'avais voyagé, oh. Je suis de retour, oh, je t'appartiens, oh. Prends-moi cadeau, oh. Fais ce que tu veux, oh. Mais on dit premier gars,
I'm gonna, in the interest of time, I know that, you know, we're on till 9, aren't we?
We are on till 9.
Yeah, I have a meeting at 9 o'clock on Monday.
So tell us about that song you just played.
Yeah, so I did some research on that song because I wanted to know what it was about. It was such a lot. I mean, I remember when this song came out in the UK, It was like, what? And particularly because we're not used to hearing a lot of our music. Back then, it wasn't the done thing. So, but I went to do some research, and I found that they're singing about a farmer who who went to the farm in the morning to do the farming, and by the time and he comes back early in the morning and brings the produce, and his wife takes the produce to the market, but she never comes back. So he's singing about the fact that he's lost his love because she's left him, basically. Yeah.
So quite an upbeat song for him losing his wife.
Yeah, and this is the thing, you know. I did back when I was in uni, I did an elective where I looked at the origins of African and Caribbean music, and generally our music tells a story. Generally, the traditional music tells a story. And so they could sing it upbeat, they could sing it melancholy, but it's still telling a story one way or the other. You know, and that's what that one was. Yeah.
Thank you. Have you got another one for us?
I've got many, dear. This one is from Tiwa Savage. It was quite popular in its day, and I still like it now, in actual fact. It's from Tiwa Savage and Wizkid, and this one is Malo.
Spells on the beat. Tiwa Savage on this one, yeah. Whiskey, do you want mama? Make it animals to tingle.
This kind thing I never see, yo. My pressure, they high got me down, whoa, whoa. My girl, hold on to me, yo. Never ever leave me for crash, oh, whoa, whoa. Girl, you they make me shiver, oh. Girl, if you leave us over, oh. With you, I get no allow, oh. I one day with you forever, oh.
Robos keske. If no be you, then tell me who. Them go sempe. Nobody messing with my boo. Robos keske. If no be you, then tell me who. Robos keske, robo yeske. Nobody messing with my boo.
My love, duh. You give me love I never see, yo. My love, duh. Your love means so much to me, yo. My love, duh. You give me love I never see, yo. My love, duh. Your love means so much to me, yo.
No be what you do or what you say, my love is single, no be plural, yeah. Brother, no be mount, but my baba, you be cool, yeah. Bonnie and Clyde, that's how I feel when I'm rolling with you. Number one, the African bad girl, and the star boy, you know how we do. Mwah, baby, you scatter my heart, you. And you load my account, you see I no go come.
Oh yes, so that's another one.
I'm telling you, before you say that, just for a second, Lady B, I'm so sorry. The time is 8:47. Just for those that are listening on Talk and Reload, you've been with the House Party Queen and my very, very wonderful guest here, Lady B, taking us. We've just been having a good old chat about Afrobeats and learning about some history and, of course, some of the background to some of these artists as well. Thank you for that. You just introduced that track just a minute ago. Can you say what it is again and what it actually means?
The one that we just played?
Yes.
It's called Malo, which means don't go. And basically, they're serenading one another, aren't they? So it's Tiwa Savage and Wizkid saying, you know, if no be you, then tell me. If it isn't you, then tell me who, basically.
That's a wonderful love song.
Yes. Serenading each other.
So tell me something. What's if you had a top 3 of Afrobeats, what would they be? What would your top 3 tunes be? You could only pick 3, Lady B.
That is so hard.
I know.
That is so hard. And what I will do is I'll go back. The very first song the Afrobeat song you played this morning, which was One Woman. That song, it came out quite recently, and when I heard that song, I thought, oh, it's a love song, and I love that song so much. So there's that. I would class that because it's my top 3 today. By next week, it would change, right?
That's what I call it, my top 10, and I've got about 1,000 in there.
Yes, it's top 3 today. So there's One Woman. There is... oh my God, I feel I'm going to do some people a disservice here. There is Anotti from Wizkid, actually. I haven't played that today, but that this was from his Made in Lagos album. And then the third one, oh God, I think is one of Burna Boy's songs, Plenty. Yeah.
Those three
Plenty.
at the moment, those are the ones that are your top. Let me see if I can find this track, Plenty. By Burna Boy, is that one?
Yeah, you love it.
Okay, well, this is for you, Lady B.
Yes.
This is kind of like nearly the penultimate tune that I may be playing. Thank you for being my guest.
You're welcome.
As it's one of your favourites, I'm going to give you your due and play this for you.
Thank you very much. That's not it.
No, it's not.
One special dedication to all the boss of them most woman about to take to the big.
Okay, it's not that one. Hold on. Is it this one? Because it's explicit. I didn't know whether I should play it.
People probably wouldn't understand it.
He's got two. He's got one called the Plenty Song. That's different.
Yeah.
Trabalhei, make you know they shall like it. I don't want nobody to keep my matter gay. For this life I day, I want to be celebrated. Don't wanna waste my days, I want to spend them on enjoyment. It's been too but then it's you.
Now with this song, it's about the lyrics. This one.
Party, as I did not think me do. Start to move, like you smoke a la crew. Just they bounce with the groove, no carry do. If you lose God, then go bounce with your boo. I can vouch for my crew, I'm telling you. And to they do, lifestyle of a group. Make you dance, no they look, then go they look, then go they look. As if it's not enough, if I do 99 good, it go remain one. Fucking up, but I can buy you a new baby, straight from major land.
Wow, that was that song by Burna Boy. It's plenty, it's plenty. I did the same thing this morning with my first track, Don't Worry, Don't Worry. It happens to all of us. Listen, there's been many times I've been on the radio, I've played a track and I'm like, oh dear, I shouldn't be playing this one. Not at this time.
Oh, I particularly like that song because he's talking about how he wants to live his life. I don't want to waste my days. I want to spend them on enjoyment. You know what I mean? And for me, those are some of the lyrics that make you when I listen to music, particularly if you're in a low mood, that song just picks you up straight away because you want to change your mindset, you want to change the chemistry in your head. And yeah, so I love that. Oh, well, I'm so happy to have played it for you. And thank you. Right now, time is 8:52. And we've been chatting for gosh knows how long now. I didn't even realise that was the time. But it's 8:53 now. It's time to let you go so you can get yourself all ready for your 9 o'clock meeting on the dot. Thank you so much, Lady B, for joining me this morning. This has been a plethora of information here about Afrobeats, the history of it, and of course the artist and the infamous Fela Kuti. We love him. Indeed. I'm going to be downloading a lot more of his music now. It's an inspiration. I'm telling you, he really is. Yeah. But thank you, as I said. Welcome. And we will talk soon, my darling. Thank you again for coming on. You're welcome. And thanks for having me. I've enjoyed it. And those in the chat room, just say thank you, Lady B, or send some love hearts or something to let you know that you enjoyed the session. Room, actually, that's been really, really good. It's lovely to see you all in there, actually. Yeah, I can see. Yeah. All right, my darling. Right. Yes. Well, good morning to you, and we will talk soon. And thank you. See you later. Wow, that was the lovely Lady B. Wasn't she absolutely fantastic? She knows so much about music, so much about Afrobeats. And as I said, she's got a show on every other Thursday on LWR Radio. And she's also on a Saturday from 2 till 4 p.m. every Saturday on LWR Radio, where you can tune in and listen to her Afrobeats show. Sometimes she
does some different music, but normally sticks to the Afrobeats routines. And she'll talk about each of the songs also, and you'll get to know a lot more details. So thank you so much again, Lady B. We're going to now end out the show. I've probably got time for maybe 2 more tracks at the very most. The very most.
Friends in my world, I won't ever love again. Cause she said I'm broken. I can feel I'm too numb. I shouldn't feel but I'm dumb. Won't listen, my love.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. This is The Breakfast Connection with the House Party Queen. Normally on every Wednesday at 7 till 9 a.m. Let's see who I can bring on next week. For this week, it's been Lady B. Okay, guys, we're coming up to the last 4 minutes. Thank you again for tuning in to The Breakfast Connection. I hope you guys who are on your way to work, who are at work, have a great day. Don't forget what the weather's going to be like. Start walking with your umbrellas because rain is coming. My garden needs it. I'm sure your gardens do as well. Don't want the grass to grow too quickly. You've been with the House Party Queen, as I said. Thank you so much. I will see you again next week, Wednesday, at the same old time of 7 a.m. Just want to say good morning to you, Lillian Harper. I just saw you there on Facebook. Good morning to you, my darling. Thank you to Sharky DJ and thank you to Laurie. Thank you. This weren't my show. Lady B made this show. She knows all about Afrobeats, all the history, and it's interesting to find out about Fela Kuti. I didn't know all of that. Playing those songs and hearing the Roy Ayers in there as well. Well, in fact, listening to Roy Ayers and hearing the Fela Kuti influence, I should say, not the other way round. What a guy. What a lady. That was Lady B. Don't forget, tune into her shows on LWR Radio every other Thursday from 6 till 8 p.m. and on Saturday from 2 till 4. I'm going to be signing off shortly because it's time for me to go to work as well. But it's been a great show. Thank you, everyone, for staying tuned. As I said, tune in again next week to the House Party Queen on LWR with the Breakfast Connection.